Hey, welcome.
Hi, good morning. How's it going?
Good morning. It's going fine, and thanks for coming here to discuss about Open Heart and Open Heart series finale and all the books this early in the morning. I'm sorry and thank you.
No, don't be sorry. You are so welcome.
Yeah, and thanks for coming. I hope everything's going well.
It is.
That's good. That's really nice. So, how's it going with choices and everything? The stories. How are you feeling these days with choices specifically?
That's a tough one to actually answer because it's really hard. I'm pretty sure you understand that, and then everyone else in the fandom.
Yeah,
It's hard.
I do.
So
Yeah, definitely. That says everything. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's kind of yeah. So, first of all, I would definitely like to know that how did you get into choices and what was your first book, experience? How did you discover choices? What did you feel when you read the first book or what was your experience? What was going through your mind?
I was on Facebook actually. I was on Facebook and I kept seeing like the ad pop up, and I think it was about like 2016. I think they had just kind of like started. So at that time, they had Most Wanted, the Freshman. They had the Rules of Engagement, or whichever one. They had the Crown, the Flame, and all that. So the first book that I actually read was the Freshman, and I actually kind of liked it. And I was like, oh, I like it. It's really interesting. And then they came out with like the rest of the series. And then after that ended, I ended up going with the Rules of Engagement, and I liked that one. So that's kind of how I fell in love with choices. I mean, back then, they put effort into their books versus now. So, you know.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're one of the OGs because 2016, I didn't even know back then like stories can be like that. There are
Mm-hmm.
apps like that. I discovered choices in 2019. Actually, at that time, I had vacation after my exam, so I was searching on. I first read this Wizard Love Story book. It's just one book app, and then I was searching for other apps, story game apps, and mainly were gender locked and not so diverse, and there were not much books there. And then I came across choices, and the first book I read, I still remember, it was High School Story. And
Mm-hmm.
well, it was a definitely new experience because I have never played something like that before. And I remember back then, I would be coming back every 3 hours. Like, did I get the key? Did I get the key? Oh, how long I have to wait? I was waking up with choices. So it was really fun. I liked all the characters of High School Story, and that was just the start of the journey. And then after that, America's Most Legible, and so on and so forth. I kept reading choices and I kept reading it and still reading it. So yeah, it was a really. I'm glad that I discovered choices.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you imagine your life without choices at this point? I mean,
I don't, I, I don't know because honestly, without it, I think I'd probably be nowhere. I think I don't know because I mean, I read it like every day, or I did, and I would reread chapters like every single day, and I would talk about it every single day. My family would look at me like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm just like, "Never mind." But yeah, like it's like I don't think I could like. Probably a few months ago, I probably couldn't live without it. I looked forward to when they would come out with like Baby Love and OH, and then now it's just like, eh, everything going on is just kind of like I don't. It's like, why is it still there?
yeah, it has become a part of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, what are your some favorite books, and who are your some favorite allies in choices so far? So far,
Oh, that's hard. Oh my god. Oh, so
yeah, there's
definitely love.
somebody that come that are coming to your head now. Yeah,
Love hacks. Definitely Mark.
Mark.
Mark, definitely Mark. Freshman, I want to say definitely Chris and Zig were my favorites.
Yeah, Chris liked him.
The, yeah, they were just like total like sweethearts. I don't know why. I just for some odd reason, I think it's like that bad boy, thing that they kind of tried to pull. I was like, oh my god, just drew me in a little bit. Um, for rules of engagement, it would definitely have to be Leo.
Leo.
Yeah, this is really hard. You're making it really hard. Oh my god.
No, just like I said, the names that are coming on in your head, like from the top of
Yeah,
whatever you can think. Yeah, I think that's that.
and then obviously like
Is
Ethan. Oh, not bad.
yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's about it.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite books are definitely the books I first played. Um, what are those? Yeah, High School Story and America's Most Legible and Jen. I don't think I have liked another Li like Jen, and also all the Li's were great there. I think Drake, and then there was I know it was Derek. I think yeah, and then Adam, Mackenzie, all were great. And High School Story, definitely all the characters super awesome. And Emma, I liked her character. She was my favorite love interest there. And yeah, and from other books, and of course Charlie from Distant Shores, liked her. It's a really great book. Yeah. So those are my favorite books and allies.
Hmm.
Okay. So now talking about Open Heart book. Again, I read this book when it was already it had been released. After that, I read it, started reading it. What about you? Did you read it when it was coming out or later?
Um. Now, are we talking about like book one or book three,
Yeah,
or
book,
like?
book one, the original book.
I think I read it when it was already fully released. I don't think I got into Open Heart book one until I finished. I think the entire Royal Romance series, actually. So I was hooked on that, and I think I was also hooked on the Mother of the Year, and then that's when I found out about Open Heart. I was like, oh hey, I'm like open. I mean, this book's here. I'm like, I'm gonna read it, and then fell in love with Open Heart one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also played it at the end of 2019 when it was completely released. But yeah, I
Hmm.
liked it really much after playing the first book, definitely. So when you first started playing this, like first few chapters, because it's completely a different genre, if you don't know much of the medical terms, then it's gonna kind of bother you. So how did you like the first few chapters? So what was going through your mind when you're like, okay, I'm just one chapter in, all right, so this is how it's gonna go. It's a new hospital. How's that experience?
I kind of found it interesting because I mean, for me, I'm a huge Grey's Anatomy person, so I was like, oh, like it's gotta have like that Grey's Anatomy feel, and honestly, like it sort of does, and so it's like I know what to expect because it's different. I'm like it's a game. I'm like it's on the phone. It's a book. So that versus Grey's Anatomy, they were like kind of similar, but also kind of different. So I was really excited for it, and then definitely I fell in love with book one and book two. Um, but book three is just completely different. But if I could choose, I would definitely just keep like book one and just book two because those are my absolute two favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy. I like the show. It's a good show. No medical show. I think there's another show I can't remember. What is the name of that show? It's also a medical drama. But yeah,
Um,
irrespective of that, when I first started playing, I was excited. Like I got to choose my character in this because it was gender customizable, and the hospital drama when I first go. So I at the time I was a first year student. It was just major college, not a doctor or anything like that. But still, when I think Jackie and MC, they would have a competition or the exams, and you need to work hard, study hard. So those things kind of resonated with me. The competition, how it can be, and also I liked the doctor part. Like I. Some things I remembered from the biology classes that I took in the high school, but other
Mhm.
than that, it was like a little hard at first, like all those medical terms. And when you're given these options, choose this or so. I was really like, wait, timed option? I don't know what does even mean. How am I supposed to choose one? Those
Yeah.
were tricky those were curveballs. But other than that, I was 6 chapters in. I started liking it more. Then the main drama, with at the end the court case when MC was alleged. Then it was more interesting. But by the end, I was totally in love with the book. I liked the book. Yeah, it was a
So
really
yeah.
nice book.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it was different. It was a different storyline, but it was an amazing book.
Exactly. So at first book, I think we meet Bryce, Jackie, and Ethan as our love interests. Rafael was not love interest in book one, though we get the scenes. We get to take care of Rafael after one accident. I remember I was really like I didn't have diamonds, so it was a diamond scene. I felt bad for Rafael, but in book two, through certain events, Rafael becomes our love interest. But till in book one, we had only three love interests. How did you like all the love interest? Overall book in throughout the books. Yeah, we can also say Rafael since Rafael became love interest in book two.
Um, that's it's hard to explain because I haven't. That's hard. Okay. So I think my friend, you're making this very, very hard.
Yeah, no, go with Ethan. I don't think it would be that hard. Would it be?
Well, I mean, I've played it maybe once with Bryce, and I found it. Yeah, I played it once with Bryce, and I wasn't really feeling it. I don't know why, but I was kind of surprised when they did make Raphael a love interest because to me he's got that whole like save the day persona, which I mean he was a paramedic.
Yeah.
Fell in love with that. He was willing to put others first before himself, which is really, really cool. And I'm really glad they made him a love interest in book two. Well, I'm disappointed, Aurora. I wish they could have done one with Aurora. I think she deserved it. Um, yeah, Bryce and Jackie, I wasn't really feeling them, but I definitely mainly stuck with Ethan. And now, yeah, yeah. So I stuck with Ethan, and I think book one, book two, obviously the whole book one thing, he was really hesitant because he had been with Harper, and then he believed in his morals, his ethics, his rules, and he's like, oh and yeah, he's like, um, I think it was like the resident mentee thing wasn't allowed. He didn't want that, and then it ended up happening sort of in book two, where she tried to push MC away, and he's like, "Oh no, 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 no!" He's like, "I can't be with you, but then I kind of want you," and then it just got harder and harder and harder for both of them. And then when the whole, um, like when the whole Raphael thing happened, I was like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, do I want to change my love interest, or do I want to keep it the same? So I decided to just keep it the same, but I haven't. I think my next playthrough, I will definitely choose like Raphael for it. So
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I want to talk about Ethan and Rafael, and then shortly about, very briefly about, Jackie and Price. So first
mhm.
of all, Ethan, yeah, all the things you said, and I personally think that Ethan is the main dominant character, and he should have been a gender customizable love interest. That would have
Mhm.
made more sense, and I think that would probably resonate with more players well. And I would really like to see the female version of Ethan. And
Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
and what name they would give them. And yeah, and like Ethan, yeah, his morals and his ethics, because Ethan, for instance, if we talk about marriage, he has his personal opinion about this institution or any other things. So that's what I like most about Ethan, because Ethan's these his theories, the sort of the ideals, let's just say ideas, by and he's surrounded by these ideals and he follows them really closely, and he's a strict guy at first, and like you said, it was a forbidden romance because mentor mentee, if MC were to progress, then people would have said, oh wow, look, it's just because maybe MC seduced the head of the hospital, probably, the senior doctors. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was hard, and Ethan always knew that. But at the times, you would get to Ethan through various incidents. That's just like a slow burn, like a forbidden romance of on in every aspect. And I get that why so many people like Ethan, and that's why I say if Ethan had been a gender customizable love interest like Blaine or Yvette or Everett, I mean, it would have been super awesome. Open heart. I mean, the revenue would go off the chart, and it's already off the chart. People literally saying they're gonna uninstall the game after this. But if it had been the case, then I don't know what would have happened. Would have been super awesome. And
Yeah.
Rafael, I think I personally like this character, and I still, if they give me this option, choose one Li to go with somewhere, I always choose Rafael. Because about Rafael, what I think is he's just a caring guy. Like I remember, like in book one, whenever there was someone was in danger in a car crash or something, then he put his life at risk and saved that person, and that's why his job was in jeopardy. And just like just a caring guy, kind of different from everybody. He would, at any given day, he would just put himself at risk just to save the MC, just to save anyone, to be honest, his friends, and always puts his fist up for the challenge. And it's good to, it's a positive, lots of positive attitude, lots of positive thinking you get when you have Rafael around. So in the book one, I thought maybe Rafael is a love interest, but I was shocked to see Rafael isn't. And then, the whole death scene, there were two deaths. So I thought maybe there are going to be some serious deaths. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Rafael was the Pixelberry, sort of designed Rafael's death at first, then probably to change it, because I think people would have been super furious about this, because Rafael didn't get the Li worship he deserved in the book one. And that then Rafael didn't deserve the end, because there was one line like one friend is Kyra was fighting with cancer, so they said one friend is going away and other friend is fighting with cancer, what are you going to do? And then the book went into hiatus, and then it came back, and then we almost lost Rafael, then we got back him, and it was great. I still remember those two chapters after hiatus. They gave us two chapters, and it was blast. It took me 2 to 3 hours to complete two chapters. It was blast. And
Yeah.
of course, Rafael, then we get him as Li. I absolutely love them. And then Jackie and Bryce are kind of the fun person, sort of they always try to show like a smirk, with lots of smirk on their faces, and just a fun loving, cool, chill people, but also they have their own fair share, their fight, their difficulties. So overall, all the love interests are great. But Ethan, of course, is the main one. Awesome. But my personal favorite is Rafael, because how he is designed. I mean, it's kind of resonates Adam from America's Most Lucable, but Rafael is just hands down my favorite Li. And Open Heart, yeah, kind of with Ethan, or yeah. So, and you said you would have liked Aurora, right?
I'm sorry?
Aurora,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a
Yeah.
bad, yeah, yeah. Go on.
Oh no, no. I remember when they were. Oh, they had hopes of her becoming a ally. I feel like they should have given her like the option to be one, because she's a total, excuse my language, she's a total badass. I mean, she's got the whole, she cares, but then she acts sometimes she'll put that cold front up to where she's like, oh well, I don't care about like whatever you say, you think you're better than me and all this other stuff, but secretly she did care, because at the end of book one we saw her character develop, and she went from being Harper Emery's niece to, like, oh well, she's like the chief's niece and all this other stuff, to actually being a person who opened up to MC, and who was able to be like, oh well, I'm going to set aside all that and actually have actual friends who actually care about me. And I think, her whole development was like huge. Like it took a to me, I think, well, I can't say guts. I think the right term I'm looking for is, what's the term I'm looking for? Um, I don't know the term I'm looking for right now, but I do know that I think she was just. I just gotta give her props, because she developed her character development was just huge, and I feel like maybe they stole that from her, from becoming an ally.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that because at first we had the competition with Aurora, and then we thought maybe Aurora is just a jerk, another, who is just someone related to Harper Emery, who is head of the hospital. But it was totally not like that. We slowly, in book one, at the end, we get to see when we were at the top, Aurora says us, well, now they will be coming for you. So she was always under, pressure, fight, and the struggles, because just because she is related to a person who is at the top, then everybody tries to make friend with her, or somebody tried to hate with her. So like we say, we would never know unless we are in the shoes of that person. So it was same with Aurora. So at the end of book one, we kind of make friend with her, and then at book two, I think we go to her old school's one of the parties, and there we get to stand up for her and defend her in more ways than one. And I thought maybe that was the defining point, like you said, that was going to be an ally. She's going to be an ally, but
Mhm.
it didn't happen. But yeah, her character development, even after that, also when Aurora goes to the, Mass Kenmore, I think, the rival hospital of Edinburgh, even she tries to steal a case, and in the baseball or softball match, you have a fiasco about that, Aurora and everything. Then we punch, we knock Landry down, and then something happens. But still, after that, Aurora helps us with stealing the, senator, and then she says, well, we're all even, and then we get back on good terms with Aurora. Still, we have more developments. We help to establish good relationship between Aurora and Harper Emery. And even I think some scenes suggested that Aurora could be an ally later in the book. I mean, at the start of book three, there were some scenes, but well, it's ending, and she's not an ally, and that hurts.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. And a lot of people wanted Esme also as a ally, because I think one person said that, like we had a relationship with Ethan, the mentor-mentee relationship, we should be recreating it with Esme. But quite frankly, we had Esme in book two, but in book three, Esme became a side character sort of. I mean, we didn't get to see much of Esme, and it really hurt me. Yeah, not as a love interest, but still, we should have seen more of Esme. What do you think about that?
I think you're right. I feel like we should have seen more of Esme. And I mean, after the way book two ended, I wasn't really sure if they were going to even bring her back. To me, I thought they were going to be like, oh, well, she screwed up. She killed a patient. Boom, done. Like, that was my opinion. And then it's like you see her here and there a few times in book three. I'm like, oh, I'm like, she's actually back. I'm like, but they didn't give her enough screen time like they did in book two. Maybe because she and MC weren't like like maybe because she wasn't her intern no more. Maybe that's why. But I am disappointed that she didn't get enough screen time, and that we don't get to see how her character progressed either from book 2 to book 3.
Yeah, that was really, I hoped for some more work into that. But yeah, it is what it is. But Esme is always a fascinating character because the way she first defended at the start of book two herself against one of the douchebag doctors of Edinburgh, that was really awesome. I mean, that was a great first impression.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. And one more question I would like to ask you: what do you think about this Ethan dominance? The people talk about it. It's overly Ethan dominated because who look to romance with female partners, and they only have Jackie. They wished for Aurora. Aurora didn't become a love interest. Some people wanted Sienna. She didn't become a love interest. Some people wanted Esme. She's not also a love interest. And even people who liked Bryce or Rafael, they said, "Well, it's mainly Ethan dominated." So, what do you like to say about that? I mean, yeah, of course, like I said, Ethan should have been gender customizable according to me, but even still, it's overly dominated toward him and not Bryce, not other characters. So, what would you like to add to that?
Well, I remember, reading comments about, about all of that. And um, personally, I think it could have been played out completely different. Um, and I remember someone in one of the comments had said they felt like the reason why PB made it more Ethan dominant was because he was a Caucasian male. And I mean, I don't know if they're right. I'm not sure. But I feel like if this was based off of Ethan, because to me, book 3 felt like it was more like based off Ethan. That's how it was going to go. And they should have been like, oh, it's open heart, book 3, Ethan's story or something.
Yeah,
But
Ethan.
but I feel like the other love interests had the limelight, not the limelight stolen from them, but I feel as if PB made it one way versus making it a two-way street, because we noticed that throughout book 3 it was like Ethan. Yes, don't get me wrong, he's a great character, but it's like it should have been equaled out and evened out between Jackie, Bryce, Raph, and him, and we didn't see any of that. We just saw it one way where it's, oh, Ethan this, Ethan that. Oh, well, chapter 8, and it's like you can't just have scenes like that with only Ethan. What about like Bryce, Raph, Jackie? Like they deserve the fair screen time. We deserve to see more of like behind the scenes with them as a love interest and not just to me, I feel like book 3 was mainly made for like Ethan and like only all the like intimate sex stuff. And
Mhm.
it's like that it shouldn't have been that way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, I feel like I'm not gonna lie. If I said it was mainly Ethan dominated, I mean, of course, Ethan dominated, but still, I think we had fair share of stories around Bryce with Keiki and Bryce's family drama. I think I pronounced his sister's name right. And then we
Hmm.
had also, you know, what is her name? Jackie's story. Her financial problem, her stuff. With the patient and Declan Nash, when that story was around book two, we had a fair share of that. But yeah, book three, it was mainly Ethan dominated. Now I think I totally understand because Ethan is the main character. Ethan is not main character. I mean the one of the main important characters in this love interest in this book. Like I said, because he's the mentor and the relationship. But I think I totally understand if they want to push Ethan's the live, like Ethan's mom and Ethan's dad. Though I think here's the thing. I think we don't still know what happens to Ethan's mom and Ethan's dad. There's still lots of things. They should have continued that a little bit somewhere. I feel like still because I think there's still unanswered question whether Ethan's gonna get back with her mom, how's with a problem with her dad, how those things are gonna go. I think those are still not that much unanswered. Still not that much answered. And I don't know if I missed some dimensions or not, but I have no problem with like Ethan's lawsuits and something. But I think they should be doing something like, you definitely, Ethan is one of your friends, if not love interest, and your mentor and one of the important characters. You care for Ethan. Ethan cares for you. You take part in the lawsuit. You fight for Ethan. But those scenes where you maybe, yeah, I think in America's Most Eligible we had scenes where we get to, lift up someone's spirits. But those spirits, they were not mostly intimate scenes, but just lift up the spirit. But here you lift up Ethan's spirit, but also, well, it can be something more, or maybe in more ways than one, and stuff like that. So I think they shouldn't have done that. And I think, what would have been better, introducing a lot of allies like Aurora and stuff. And if they thought like, all right, this book is gonna end at book 3, then at the end of book 2, if they had divided this, like choose your ally, choose your girlfriend or boyfriend, and then the person you want to date, like in High School Story, like in America's Most Eligible. So if you had chosen Ethan, all right, boom, bang, that's the end of the story. It's like locked. Your love interest is locked. Then others are friend. And yeah, there are going to be dramas around them. Of course, Ethan's drama should be there, but you're gonna help him as a friend, as a mentor, and those steamy scenes won't be there. Of course, they would be there if you choose him as your love interest, but other than that, you help him. But the scenes you get with another person, different way. So I think they should have done that. What they had done with High School Story, with various other books in the past that reached the book 3, I think that's where they fell short. But otherwise, like I said, I don't have any problems with these Ethan scenes. I do think that there should have been more focus on Rafael, then Jackie, then Bryce. But still, scenes, okay, so lawsuits and this stuff and other dramas, they make sense. Like I said, because it does. I mean, we agree or not, it is Ethan dominated. Ethan is a one of the main. He definitely is within the limelight because he's a very important character. But I think they should have separated these importance of a character in terms of plot and the love interest. And one of the best ways would have been to lock the love interest at the end of book 2 if they were thinking of finishing the book at book 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Because also in I know in Bloodbound, I think at the end of book 2, it asks you, oh well, like between Jax, Camila, Adrian, Lily, like it gives you that option to have like a locked ally, and then like in tier R, it has the exact same thing. So it's like if Pixelberry knew that we were only going to get 16 chapters for book 3, I feel like they should have done the whole locking of the love interest at like halfway to the end of book 2.
They do that with all the books, but this was an exception. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just that. And wow, what a similarity. Book 1, we faced a lawsuit also, and it was against our main character. And I still remember in that lawsuit also, Naveen saves us. He comes and saves us. He votes I or Nai, I forgot. And in this also, we have a lawsuit against Ethan. And in this also, Naveen comes to save Ethan. And Ethan was beside us in that, and we were beside Ethan in this. So great similarity between the end of between the last chapters of book 1 and book 3, won't you say?
Well, I think I mean, obviously you're right there, but the difference between book 1 and book 3 is that with MC in book 1, it didn't go to actual court. It just stayed within the hospital.
Yeah.
And then book 3, it's like you're in court, Naveen comes and rescues you. But what I didn't appreciate was that the way not MC, the way Ethan treated MC in the end. It's like MC, yes, she or he, whoever your character is, went to Naveen, like to tell him, talk to him, see if he can help. And then the way that Ethan spoke to MC, it's like, really, it's like you're gonna go ahead and treat MC that way after everything they've done for you.
Mm.
And then it's like, it's just that whole part just got to me because it's like he kind of just flipped a switch for a quick second.
Mm.
And when he said, "Oh well, do that," and all personal like respect and all that's like gone, it's like really, it's like you can't just treat someone that way.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I personally didn't romance Ethan. Yeah, I did play that. I did get that scene, but what I thought about that, I quite to be honest, I understood Ethan because um yeah, because if well, after playing, knowing the backstory, like we also know, like we're doing all this for Ethan, right? And well, Ethan is right in this case, but in Naveen's case also, Ethan had the same relationship with Naveen, the relationship where we have right now with Ethan. Maybe we have more than that, but still, kind of same, at a professional level, at a personal level. So we both have admiration, right? So now at that time, like Ethan explains, Naveen had stuffs going on, had really bad things going on, and it's just his because well, we can tell like what times they spent together. You know, Ethan, how Naveen was close to him, even how Naveen also helped Ethan also. So maybe it was a tribute of Ethan to Naveen. Maybe it was not right, the thing he wanted to do, but still, that's what he wanted to do, and he was just scared. I think that it's gonna be in front of everyone because yeah, it's like I don't know. It's just at that point, it was just like about a mother and a son relationship. So and vice versa because Ethan and Naveen's relationship is something like that because Ethan admires Naveen, and if you try to snatch the baby from a mom, even like imagine a lion or lioness or anyone, so it's gonna be really angry. And Ethan, or the vice versa, like the way they protect, and Ethan tried to protect the mentor, with his life, and well, like he definitely had some feelings. I think Pixelberry should have shed more light to it, like why could have gotten a little bit more emotional with that scene. But I personally totally got that. I mean, still, like you said, it doesn't explain like a person who is trying to help you. You can't be shouting at him like, all right, okay, you just lose the case. I'm out of here. I mean, that
Hmm.
would have been the case in real life. Oh, all right, go on, go to jail. I don't know. I don't care. But yeah, I mean, but still, I think MC was considerate about this, and I like that because yeah, they were thinking both ways what was going through Ethan's mind. But yeah, but that's just my thought, how I perceived this. And but yeah, but I really liked the relationship between Ethan and Naveen because I felt like, well, we would have done the same thing, wouldn't we? Because I think when Aurora comes, no, Harper comes into the a diagnostics room some chapters ago and says, who put the patient, like they were blaming our main character, like you did this when Ethan did that, patient switch thing. But then Ethan comes in and then we have these options. Then we say, yeah, we did this. Well, then Ethan says, no, I have done that. So, well, we did that back then, and Ethan's doing that same thing. So yeah, I kind of that resonated with me. It resembled what our MC would be doing. So yeah, I kind of justified, but I think Ethan was grateful and apologetic also. But yeah, I think they could have shed more light on that, Pixelberry.
Yeah. Um, I feel like when that I can't remember which chapter it was. It was probably like 11, maybe 10, when Ethan ended up messing with Elijah's trial. I feel like Harper jumped the gun too quickly to
Yeah,
because like she even said it. She said, "Well, I reported you before I even found out it was Ethan."
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
maybe if she had figured out first, if she had just thought it over and talked with MC about it, maybe things would have played out differently. And I mean, I don't know if we would still have the actual trial between what's going on, with Ethan and Bloom, but I'm pretty sure if it had played out differently, I don't think I don't know. I think it still would have happened, but I'm not sure if it entirely would have happened. but I think I don't know. I think Harper just jumped the gun and automatically she wasn't thinking, and she's like, oh well, had it been Ethan, I wouldn't have reported him. But she automatically assumed it was MC and MC's influence on Ethan for him to do what he did, and I think that was a huge thing too because right there, like I had stated a few times on like Twitter and Instagram and all that, it felt like Elijah was Derek Shepard and Ethan was Meredith Grey when in Grey's Anatomy they were doing the Alzheimer's trial and Meredith ended up swapping out one of the placebos for Richard Warbur's wife. And I was just like, oh, like Ethan is now Meredith Grey and Elijah's Derek Shepard, to where Ethan tampered with the trial, but then it kind of later on got just like shoved under the rug. I was like, oh, no biggie, just like a little slap on the wrist without suffering the actual consequences. And now here we are. He went through a trial to where he almost could have lost his license for something that he he sort of did, but also at the same time didn't really do. And it it's just to me like, oh my god, like the emotions were like rising, and I was like, oh my god, like it's conflicting because he's willing to risk his career for Naveen, and
Yeah.
I get that. So I found that like this entire book and that entire chapter, I just found it really conflicting just a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Harper reporting, yeah, that was like, I think we also get this chance to set our records straight with Harper because Harper says, well, I would have not reported Ethan, and we also get mad. I think we have options how to react because
Mm-hmm.
it really pisses our main character off because, wow, I mean, this is serious discrepancy and, totally different behaviors with like kind of hypocritical also.
Yeah, definitely. Because it was like she just went and did it, and but if it had been Ethan, she wouldn't have done it. She would have actually listened and understood, but she just assumed that it was MC. So she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and file a report. And I'm just like, no. I'm like in the back of my mind, I was like, that was like a low blow.
Yeah, really, really low blow. Yep, that was bad. And then in book two, how did you like the book two? Because it was really interesting. A lot of things happened because it started with the like we know someone's gonna die or maybe multiple people are gonna die. So there was an anticipation all the time, and then we had good moments like the softball match I think between the two hospitals, and a lot of things happened in the senator drama, the debate I think or something, and then the hospital fiasco that then Tobias and Ethan they're coming together to help to find the cure for that disease, and then finally getting out of there, and then having other problems like saving the hospital. It was I mean, that was the thing in every chapter. I thought specifically since it came back from hiatus, there were a lot of things going on in just one chapter. MC is dealing with a whole lot of stuff, eventful chapters. So how do you like the book too?
Book two, I actually enjoyed it. It was different. You get like because how would I explain it? I had the answer in my head while you were asking that. Um,
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
it okay. It
Yeah.
was different. Because we get to see how MC kind of like not branched out, but how the character development kind of grew from starting as a fellow. I think she was like he or she was, I think, was the fellow resident or junior resident on the team. And then it's like day one, it's like they're nervous, and then they progress, and then they start to feel more confident in themselves. And then with the whole like Mass Kenmore and Aidenbrook thing against like, pitting each other, it's just like, okay, it's like you're gonna have the rivalry all the time, and that's never going to stop. It's never going to go away. And I think it got harder when the whole senator thing happened. I personally got really anxious. I'm like, okay, like they're gonna kill someone else, like, because you just don't do an assassination attempt and not have someone die. I didn't expect it to be Bobby or Danny, and well, Bobby and Danny. Um, like in that moment when it happened, like my heart just sank. I was like, oh my gosh, like Danny was like, even though he was a side character in book one, he was like one of my favorites because it's like his persona matched so well with like Sienna's, and it's like, see, after Sienna dumped her boyfriend, it's like you kind of see her having like an interest in him, and I thought, I'm like, oh my, she's gonna end up being happy, she's gonna have a boyfriend, all this other stuff, and the that whole thing happened. I was just like, oh my god, I was like heartbroken. And then like, the funeral for Bobby and Danny, and what I think PB could have done was shown us a different perspective on MC and how their life had changed after that whole attack. And I feel like that could have been like, oh hey, like this happened, I need some time to start over, put my feet back into the water, and take baby steps. But it's like they kind of like just jumped right back in, and I'm just like, it would have been nice to see how it affected MC. And I mean, it was still a great book. I still loved book one and book two, but it was played out really, really well. I feel like those little, I think it's like the two chapters could have had a little bit more in that, and like, oh, just reliving it right now. It's like, oh my god, yeah,
Yeah, I mean you're right. Yeah, so Danny, I think she was Sienna, and they were a thing, and Sienna was really sad after that. But yeah, I think like one of them, very important character was gonna die. But after the hiatus, they changed it. Sort of, Rafael was probably gonna die because I have I don't remember seeing. Of course, I saw Danny, but I don't remember seeing Bobby even at least for once before the thing happened in chapter 11. Do you? I remember seeing him before that in Edenbrook.
no, I've never, yeah, no, he never really popped up except for chapter 11.
Yeah. So
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, go on.
no, no, no. I'm just like, I'm thinking it's like I feel like they also should have mentioned him before all of that, but they only mentioned him during chapter 11
Yeah.
of book two. So yeah,
Yeah, I think like I said, it was probably Rafael who was set to die, but then they changed it, and then instead of one death, they probably just took two deaths there, and one Danny, who definitely had a really good mental bond with the readers, and then they added this Bobby character who was never seen before, who had never been seen before the chapter 11. And yeah, that's how it went. Because, but still, when Rafael was in that condition, and I think we got better by the end. And I knew kind of like this is chapter 11, 12, and main character doesn't matter what happens. Even a truck hits it, main character isn't gonna die. So I kind of knew that. But I was really worried for Rafael because I think Rafael's condition really worsened. Even it was worse than our main character because he got it on himself because he was sort of tackling that psycho guy who was trying to kill the senator and ended up affecting innocent people. So Trevor, I think his name was. I forgot. So yeah, I thought almost that, or maybe this is the end for Rafael, but like Rafael got saved, and then we got him back as an ally, and that was a really good thing, I guess. But yeah, almost. My heart was in mouth, to be honest, at that moment. And thank God they released two chapters back to back. Otherwise, I don't think I could have waited 1 week to find out what happens to the Rafael.
yeah, that's definitely true. I feel I because like how you said earlier, you feel that they were gonna try to kill Raph. I feel like that was what they were gonna go for. But I think since everyone loved Raphael so much that they decided to keep him but kill off Danny. And I was like, my heart was just like, oh my god, like I got really nervous when they're
Mhm.
like, oh well, Danny, he didn't make it. I was like, oh my goodness, like my heart sank. I felt for him, but I mean, we hardly saw Danny too. I'm not saying that what they did was a good thing. It was like a really devastating loss, but
Yeah.
I think they chose to do the side characters or the characters that didn't really have screen time versus one of the main characters because in the end they chose to keep Raph as an ally, and it would have been horrible to see a main ally kind of like get killed off in like such a horrible way.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. That was really horrible because they didn't deserve it. Even it's kind of like
Hmm.
that. And yeah, and the funeral was really heartbreaking too.
Yeah, that was a really hard scene, especially when they're like, "Oh," like when they asked MC to like say a few words. It's like that was even harder. It's like does MC like you have the option to have either your MC speak or not, and
Yeah.
it's like they kind of were put on the spot, and it's like how how do you come back from what you went through with these people who you worked with? And then it's like, how can you stand there to speak at their funeral
Hmm.
when you went through something so traumatic?
Yeah.
And I feel like no one ever really talked like not no one, but Pixelberry never mentioned like how Bobby's family felt or how Danny's family felt
Hmm. Yeah.
like after that. I feel like we should have been given like, oh well, like we should have seen how Bobby's family felt, with his loss and how they were struggling. Danny's family, the same thing. But I feel like since they weren't a major part of the story, that they didn't really do that for them. But just this whole funeral, them having two funerals in one, it was so devastating. It was like, oh my goodness. I actually started crying during like that chapter. I was like, oh my god. I was in my feels big time.
Mhm. Yeah. It was like a chapter like that, and definitely, like I said, I think because they didn't mention, because I don't think they had a plan to kill them. So they just probably, just came up with this and saved Rafael, something like that. But yeah, you're right. There should have been more light on that. Well, I think that would have made, people more cry, because, that would have touched heart more,
Hmm.
That's really true. But overall, in terms of what happens in book two is, I would say, it is really a memorable and probably the best book of the series. Wouldn't you say that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Book two is like the best one because you don't have only like medical drama. You have like actual like I guess you have like actual drama with like the whole senator thing here and there, and I think that's kind of like what made it not better, but it brought something different to the book. So definitely, but book two is like one of the best because you see different types of drama going on, whether if it's the hospitals going down in ruin because they can't keep it open financially, or whether if it's like small drama. But I think that leading up to everything was the main assassination thing, and then Bloom coming in, saving the day, buying the hospital out. So that was definitely one of the best books of the entire series.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, what didn't happen in that book? Jackie's drama, Declan Nash. Then we have this senator drama, of course, the assassination. Then other dramas and small cases also here and there. Then Rafael's therapy. Then other things, and Bryce's family drama, and then Ethan's family drama. Other things, and MC's own problems. And so it was a really, in every chapter, like I said before, it was really eventful. Something was always happening. So yeah, I would say book two has been a really successful book. And specifically at the time it came, there weren't much books releasing at that time. There wasn't much in Pixelberry because of the pandemic. But yeah, it
Mhm.
really won our hearts over, I would say, at that time. Glad they did, they released it and they didn't stop. Salute to Pixelberry for that, because a lot of app stores were closed at that time, but they kept releasing it. Long hiatus were there. Think it went for hiatus first time, then it came back for two chapters and went into hiatus again. It definitely struggled, but still great work. When it came back, it won over heart.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then book three, how would you say book three has progressed so far? Or whatever happened. Summary.
For me, I wasn't really. I I'm not really feeling book three. I think it is different. It's a whole different storyline versus what one and two were based off of, and I feel like it could have been a bit better. Yes, we have, you have the gala, you have the reopening of the hospital. It's more modern, more high tech, but I feel like I feel like Pixelberry kind of made it. Um, they just made it different from what it was like two and one, and we see like how, yeah, some people were able to adjust quickly to it, while some people were still iffy. Like MC was still iffy about it, Ethan was still iffy about it, and Bloom just jumped in, took charge, and we hardly saw like Naveen. We hardly see like things of certain characters, and I mean, to me, I feel like it wasn't the best book, but it also wasn't like a great book. It's kind of like in between, because
Yeah.
it's like it goes off the plot of what book one and book two were based off of, and it's just, I don't know, it's just different, and yeah, I'm just left speechless on book three.
Yeah, I mean, they. I think they were clueless on what to do in book three. I think because at first they tried to push this Aurora. I'm not sorry, Aurora, Emery and Ethan's past history, but they failed. I don't think they took it anywhere. They did anything, but there were some moments, and then they tried to push some things with Aurora, but they didn't do anything with that. And then some here and there, this and that. I think there was a guy who could tell future or something from because of a medical condition. He said something but about Bloom, but that didn't come true much because Bloom was mainly against Ethan. He didn't do much against the main character, to be honest. And we
Mhm.
recruit another member, but again, Tobias becomes the member. So some scenes felt like they were not really necessary. And yeah, you're right. But yeah, overall, because we are so connected with all the characters, so to get to see them, to get to know them, it was like a big thing at book three. It was something like the last few chapters of my two first subs, because you have gotten to know them so far for so long. So yeah, just getting to see them, it was a big thing, whether things happening or not. But yeah, things are happening, but not like book two, like you said. But yeah, still overall, a good book.
Yeah.
Mhm. So now, for I want to talk about some characters now. Two characters, not some. So first one is
Okay.
Leland Bloom. Leland Bloom's character. I want to know what you think about this, but I think we first meet Bloom in book two when he gives us a competition, our hospital and Mass Canamore, and then he believes us. He's a rich billionaire who believes in competition is the mother of creativeness and stuff. And then we find out the reason of the disease or the problems he was having, and then we say like, look, you're not for a long time. Then you, even if you change kidney, even then you wouldn't be alive for a long time. And then he says, oh, I will just buy, but you can't do that because there are people in the line. And then Bloom says, well, I will just buy it with money. And then we say, but that's not right. People are in the line, a lot of people who've been waiting there, and you can't just do that. They've been waiting for far longer than you've been. So then we have this conversation with Rafael, and that we were down because of, like, if you have money you can buy everything, but you don't have money you can't do anything. So then Rafael says, well, if you get, if you were in Bloom's shoes, wouldn't you have done anything to just see the loved ones, to see the persons you love, just to buy some more time so you can be with your loved ones for a little bit longer? And I think it was the start. Then he comes back again for his wife's disease, and we see they can't be together. Bloom's own disease, I think it's protein related something causing his wife's disease if they're together. And then in book three, we see, I just want to know what you think, because I found out Pixelberry. I said we don't see much in this book, but I think like they made wave and then they stopped. I think because they did a really good job. Bloom's character, because just see, ask Ethan. Ethan would say, well, Bloom is an absolute monster. He's that, he's this, he's not a good guy. And well, true, because what he's done with the trial, and even before the trial, he has always tried to push stuff. But now ask Elijah. What would he say? Like, he's pushing for research, well, that are good. And even what he believes, if the research he's doing, it's definitely he's doing because of his own benefits, and he's recruiting patients that he only with the same condition that he's looking for. So he's doing for himself. But also it gets mentioned, if he becomes successful, yeah, his wife will be cured. But well, this disease is not curable at this moment, but it would be curable after that. So you'd be doing a, help to the humanity too. So this MC, sometimes then we see Bloom and Bloom's wife's pictures. What we see once while sneaking into Bloom's office, like Bloom really loves his wife. So this Bloom, like, it's like you can't say he's a bad guy, he's a good guy, but he is different things in different eyes. So sort of this character, well, he's an antagonist character but not another antagonist character. So it really matters who you ask, because he's inspiring a lot of people on one side, on the other side he's a total villain because he's destroying them. So I really liked that representation, because I think that's what real life, you're not good, you're not bad, it's just a matter of perspective. So how did you feel about Bloom and all these things? Well, let's just eliminate this court case, because it was too extreme, because in the middle, Bloom was missing also, and then they suddenly put the court case, and Bloom did that, and he had a beef against Ethan for a long time. But overall, in the context of these things, how do you feel like Bloom's character?
Bloom's character at first, when we meet him in book 2, I just thought he was like some like arrogant rich billionaire who's like, oh, I don't care about things, but I care about like my wife and all that. So it's like, to me, yeah, he's more of a, like, for him being a tech Mongol, I think that's like the proper term, I think. um he has his ups and he has his downs. He sees things only in black and white. He doesn't see things the way that other people see things. And but also at the same time, he was trying his hardest to find a cure for Caroline. He shows that, he's devoted to her, he loves her, he's willing to go to arm's length for her. And that's like something that you hardly see like nowadays, even in real life, or sometimes in like stories and all that. um so like at first, yeah, I thought Bloom sorry, he was like different. I God dang it, now I'm lost. He's different. At first I was like, oh my, he's kind of like stuck up, he's kind of arrogant, but also at the same time, it's like when he sees something, he puts, I guess not, well, I guess he puts like the effort into it, kind of. What did get to me was the whole scene of when he basically bought the kidneys. I was like, to me, in the back of my mind, personally, I mean, if I had something like that, I would be like, you know what, I'm gonna take it day by day. I'm gonna seek out other treatment options. If there's nothing left, then I mean, it's not a lost cause. It's just you deal with the hand that's been dealt, kind of. And Bloom, he kind of like bought his way to the top, not really caring about the fact that there were others who were in much more need. And he's like, okay, he's like, well, I'm gonna buy my way, versus those who have been on that list for like a long time. And that's the one thing that got to me. But after that, it's like he comes and goes, and then he went out of his way to buy the hospital to have people develop this cure for Caroline, because he just wants to be around her, but then he can't, because when he found out that he's the thing that's killing her, quotes and all that, he was heartbroken, he was devastated, and like that just goes to show that this is a man who despite everything, he loves his wife, and he's willing to do whatever he can for her to make sure that she's okay. And we saw that at like the end of book 2, that he put Caroline first. And in book 3, like, we hardly see him, and there's no mention whatsoever of anything for Caroline. There's no mention of, of what the team's working. I mean, kind of, they mention it a little bit here and there, but there's like no actual like tests. There's no actual like cure for like her disease that's being made in the process. It's everything else for like other things. And I mean, I do give him props for trying his hardest, having the doctors at the hospital work on it, but also at the same time, this whole feud he has with Ethan and all that, I feel like that could have been set aside. That if they have a vendetta, fine, they can do it on their own time, not personal, not personal time, not like during the work time. And there's a time and place for everything. But
Hmm.
we see a kind of, I want to say Bloom kind of goes up and down between book 2 and book 3. It's like now, since he's in charge, he's got this whole, oh, well, it's either my way or no way, or it's my way or the highway. And he tries his hardest to get all these patients that the diagnostics team has, like, into trials that they're not even sure might even work. And so, like, yes, at times he's a good guy, but also at times he could be a bad guy, because I felt like in the first, I think it was chapter 1, or was it? No, I don't think it was chapter 1. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3, when he tried to put that patient into a trial, but she had no information on it. I think it was Suzette. Was it chapter 2 or chapter 3 of book 3? One of the first few chapters, he tried to put Suzette into that trial, and she was
Hmm.
really iffy about it. And it's like, you just don't put someone automatically into a trial without giving them all the details, the full rundown of what it can be. And Ethan tried his hardest to get her out of that, but then later on he ended up tampering with Elijah's trial to put a patient into it, when he went against everything he believed in to do what Bloom had done in book 2. So
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. So yeah, Suzette thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was like some apples, some oranges. A mixed bag, to be
yeah, sorry, I was
honest. No problem.
getting comfy on the couch and had to readjust myself.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. No worries. So one last character I would like to talk about is Tobias. Tobias, we first see him also in book 2, and then he's basically Ethan's rival. And I would like to say quickly that he is hates Ethan, but like you said, he does something really bad, also some stuff to steal patients and stuff. But still, at the end, what he does, he comes together with Ethan to save MC and Rafael. When that assassination happens, and then book 3, we see him coming to our hospital as a diagnostics team member. He tries, well, he was a completely different person from there also, because at first he wasn't like too sure, but he was kind of cocky. But we play the diamond scenes to get to know about his fair share, or also his part of story with Ethan, and his relationship, everything. And I think at one point when Ethan was out of the diagnostics team, he also confesses like he had been wrong. He tried to cheat or put the blame on Ethan. So he said, well, Ethan is the source that gives him the competition he needs uh, become the better self, and to the that he can be Tobias. And at the end also, throughout the book it develops, and when Ethan comes back, Tobias was happy to give back him his spot. And then when Ethan again goes away from the diagnostic stream because of the malpractice suit, the old suit now, and then also he really holds up the diagnostic stream really well, and I really liked that. And we and on specifically in the last chapter when we go to the court and he was called by the plaintiff, and then what he says, the plaintiff was like, "What?" Well, I really laughed because he was like, well, I don't have anything to ask anymore to this. And then Ethan's attorney didn't ask any question either. So, and I think that was really high of him and his character development. Yeah, I think they were always friends, Ethan and Tobias, and kind of got astray, but then they found each other back. Maybe MC had some stuff to do, but it's mostly them. And well, I liked Ethan and Tobias. What about them? What do you think?
Um, I mean, we see a huge development from Tobias in 2 to 3. So in 2, he comes off as like a total, you know, um, well, I'm going to refrain from saying what I actually want to say. Um, he comes off as a total jerk, and he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "It's all about the rivalry," and he doesn't put others first. In book 2, he only cares about getting the job done, and he wants to be better than Ethan, and we see that in book 2. And then later on, when Boz ends up leaving and they have that spot open when he comes, I thought, he was going to try his hardest to sabotage Ethan and the team on so many different levels. But he actually proved himself to be a worthy teammate, and you can kind of see his development from how he was in book 2 about not caring about what Ethan thought and all this other stuff, to actually like, hey, me and him had our differences, but we're on the same team. He's the better doctor. He would never do this. He would never do that. And um, I think book 3 kind of like made me realize that Tobias wasn't only a bad guy in book 2, that he actually had, he had some sort of change of heart, because in book 3 he mentioned, I think when MC and him go visit that one patient's house, they're looking through her apartment to see why she was ill, and turns out it's the oysters. Like, they have that heart to heart, and he says that he how he regret trying to sabotage Ethan on getting the position at um at at Edenbrook, about how he was just jealous and he never really meant to do it, and that he wants to like fix their friendship. And it's like, he came a long way to actually admit that. And I'm sure if Tobias had ended up staying at MK, I don't think we would see the development in his character as we do now. And I mean, he's not like my favorite, but he's up there on my list, and he's proven himself to be a good guy. He's proven himself to be a good backup leader. He's proven himself to be a lot of things just in general from what we saw out in book 2. So yeah, I mean, I'm satisfied with the way Tobias played out, and I think if they had given book 3 more chapters, I think they would become more like, not besties. We're not going to use the whole bestie term, as Ethan says it's lame and all that, but I could see them being like friends again, and being an unstoppable team. So I'm really impressed with how Pixelberry played him out. So that's like the one good thing, kind of.
Hmm. Yeah, I hope like there's still one chapter left, and I hope they do that. Yeah, not besties, but still like good friends. Even like they're smiling to each other, spending some time. That's still enough. From Ethan standards, that's like like a huge thing. Yeah. Uh, so overall, your thoughts on chapter 15, like how it progressed. How did you feel about the chapter 15?
For chapter 15, my emotions were high. I was more like, oh well, I wouldn't say anxious. I just had like a lot of like, oh my god, like what am I gonna expect out of chapter 15? And it was more like not nerves, but it's just like angst and all that. There's a lot of that in it. Um, I I sort of saw that I was gonna go Ethan's way, obviously, but also at the same time, it's like there was that little thing in the back of my mind. It's like, how would the how would the last chapter play out if he had lost, if
Yeah.
he hadn't had won, and yeah, I mean, I'm just like I still can't seem to wrap my head around it because it's like it happened, yes, but I don't know. Chapter 15 was kind of like one of those chapters that like I didn't want to read it, but I was like, no, I have to find out what's happening. I need to read it. I need to know. And I read it and it's just like, oh my God. It was like everything was just like high and my emotions were just, it's like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen? And like I don't know, it was just a lot in chapter 15.
Yeah.
Like my anxiety nearly kicked in. I was like, oh my goodness, like what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, chapter 15, it was really interesting and the best chapter of book 3, if I might add, because all the things going on, it was anxious and, standing by Ethan. And we go to this thing with Rafael. Personally for me, Rafael, I find out all the details of the old case and the way we eavesdrop and hear in the last chapter, the end of last chapter, and the court case and all the things that go on. And it was really awesome. So, did you play the and finally we clear up Ethan's name, then Bloom coming to that, and well, I chose the options to like really get back at Bloom angrily, and I liked that, liked all the things, and it was a wholesome chapter overall. Did you play the diamond scene at the end with Ethan? Was there anything important to like that would people would miss if they didn't play the diamond scene?
I didn't get to actually play the diamond scene for me being a VIP member and all that. I normally do, but this time I was out of diamonds. I didn't really get to play that, and I'm really bummed out because that means I would have to go back and restart the entire book just to do that one diamond scene. So I don't really know what goes on there.
Uh, but overall, a
Yeah,
really nice chapter, like great chapter.
yeah.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the finale? Your expectation? Like, what do you think could happen in the finale, and how what could go on? Because I think find out about your career, your future, and your love. So it's official that we're gonna lock our love interest. They're gonna give a glimpse of future, probably like this could happen, like in Big Sky Country book, something like that. So, what are your expectations? What do you think about this? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think like if we have a locked love interest, I feel like how we both mentioned earlier that it should have happened in book two. It's like why wait now to like the end? But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Hopefully, we'll finally get an "I love you," which I'm not sure, but I have my fingers crossed that we will hopefully get an "I love you," not just only out of Ethan, but like out of like any of the allies. If it comes down to MC like me, who I'm romancing Ethan, if she if my character ends up having that chance to stay, I'm pretty sure she would stay for Ethan. Um, so oh, it's hard. I'm hopeful that we're gonna have like like MC's gonna stay, or if MC leaves, like Ally might go with them. Hopefully, but I really want to hear or read that we finally get an "I love you." That's what I'm waiting for, just to hear and I love you from any of the allies or Ethan. That's like the one big thing I'm I'm waiting on. But I feel like we will see a glimpse of what's going to go on, like in Big Sky Country. I feel like it it'll be a sweet ending, but a really sad ending because it's a great series. Granted, book three wasn't really that great, but still overall it was a really great series, and it shouldn't have ended with only 16 chapters. But I feel like we might be given the option to stay. Get Obviously, we're probably gonna be given the option to go, but I feel like if we could, one of our allies could go with us and follow our dream versus theirs. Who knows? I don't know. I have a lot of different um, thoughts on how it might go, but just a whole "I love you." That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. Personally, I don't know why, but I love to see the end episode of any series or to read the end chapter. I still remember Distant Shores' last chapter was super awesome. The last chapters are often really awesome, and Open Heart has been a really great series. I can't wait to read the last chapter, how it ends, what's gonna happen, and it's just always curious because last chapter I'm saving up on diamonds. I have 31 diamonds as of now. I'm gonna play some books here and there to get some more diamonds. I'll try to reach the tally of 60 so that I can play any diamond scenes because I don't think my future is going to be dependent on any diamond scenes. Like, all right, you're going to stay with him, take this 30 diamond scene like in a Veil of Secrets, stay with Kate, yeah, wait, give me 30 diamonds. I don't think that's going to happen. If that happens, a backup plan, saving diamonds for that. And also our friend group, I'm really curious, like these things, when a book ends, what is going to happen with all the characters? And in this book we have a lot of characters. What's going to
Hmm.
happen with our allies, with our main character, with all the side characters and our friends, Elijah, Sienna, and all the group back in the home, where we live, we're going to stay there, what are they going to do, what kind of doctor they're going to probably become. And also in the hospital, Baz, Ingrid, I think, and then his Baz's Zaid, I think Zaid, yeah, but the twin brother, and all the members there, our interns, what are going to happen with them, what's going to happen, what's going to take place in the future, what's going to happen to them, and all the possibility, there could be multiple endings, like they could go with, like I'm just thinking about it, like I don't know what's actually going to happen, but it's just there are endless possibilities for the end chapter, and I'm really excited. I know it's sad if this book is ending, but well, every good thing's come to an end. So every single good thing comes to an end. We gotta accept that. But I can't wait for the finale. I know I'm gonna have a heavy heart after this because, like I said, we've been through them a lot. We've gone the we have gone, we have walked the good walk, we've walked the bad walk with all the characters, the group, the gang. And then I don't know, it's gonna be hard, but it's worth reading the ending, and I'm gonna be fascinated, till the end. I really like the ending until they pop up. Thank you for playing Open Heart. I hope you really liked it. I don't like that part, but before that I like everything, the music, because Pixelberry is great with music and the background scene. So I'm just waiting what they have in store for us in the finale. And I'm telling you, I hope that they go all out for the ending. They better do it.
Yeah, oh, they have to go out with the bang. They can't leave it like, oh, thank you for playing Open Heart, because I'd be really devastated. Because it's like we put our time, our our sweat and tears into this entire book three, and you guys just want to leave it, that way. Like I'm feeling very hopeful that we'll get, like maybe one diamond scene. I'm also feeling hopeful that I mean, I don't know. I'm just hopeful that it'll be a good chapter versus something like, oh, well, MC has to stress out over like this or that and all this other stuff. And it's like, but what I'm concerned about is if you end up adopting those animals, who's going to take the fennec fox, the chinchilla, and the turtle. Oh my god! Like right now, I'm thinking like, who's gonna take them all? It's like, are you gonna separate them? Are you gonna keep them together? It's like, what's gonna happen with the animals? Like right now, that's in the back of my mind. I mean, those poor babies. They just need a stable home right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of unanswered questions, and I hope the finale is going to answer those. Really excited for that. Can't wait.
Yeah. I'm really excited for it too. I mean, I'm gonna be all teary eyed probably on Friday, but I just I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. And then, I mean, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm just waiting to
Yeah,
see what how it's gonna play out, how it's gonna be. But I really wish they would have continued with it. But all things have to come to an end, unfortunately.
it is what it is. Yeah, yeah. That's so. Let's wait for the ending. And
Mhm.
meanwhile, Open Heart, talking of Open Heart, your Instagram fan fictions, they're really great. I mean, you mainly write about Open Heart, right?
Well, I decided to go multi fandom back in March, but for right now, yes, it's basically open heart at the
Yeah.
moment.
So it's mainly like MC and Ethan, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So how did you start writing about this fanfics? Like, did you have this idea after reading Open Heart that okay, I'm gonna go all out? So because they're super awesome. So when did you start and get got the inspiration?
Um, I had ideas for a while, but I was really iffy about like wanting to post them because ever since I was young, I could from what from what I was into, I've always been, into writing and poetry,
Oh
and my
wow.
family knows my family knows that when I write, I normally don't do fluff. My stuff has to have some sort of drama. So,
Hmm.
like when I first started to read the Royal Romance series, I kind of found it boring a little bit because there was no real like drama to it. Yes, you had them vying for the prince's hand, marriage, and all that, but I was like, okay, I'm like, I like the book, but I'm not feeling it. Up until book three, when the whole like Anton thing happened, I was like, yes, I'm like, there's action, there's drama outside of like, the court and all that. That's the kind of stuff that I'm into. So growing up, all my poetry's always been not. I wouldn't say dark. It's always had like its own twist to it. Um, like I'm not really like the romancy type of person. So it's like if it's romance, it's like oh my god, like romance. Ugh. It's like for me, I have to always incorporate some sort of like in my current series, as you read, there's tensions and issues between my character and her family. There's drama. There's a little bit of everything. Like for me, I have to have all that incorporated. It can't just be like all romance. It can't be all fluff and happiness. That's not how I've always been. Um, so that's how I like my writing. I don't know why I'm weird that way. And I did start on Wattpad, a Dragon Age series, but then I ended up not publishing it because at that time it had been a while since I had last written. The last time I actually wrote an actual um like story, I was back in high school. I ended up writing like a miniature play for one of my English class. They're like, oh, you're gonna write small plays, and the best one's gonna get performed only in front of the class. And sure enough, mine was picked. I don't know why, but mine was picked. And so it's like I've always been into writing, but I always felt like I lacked a lot of things in writing. And when I started, I just had like these ideas. I was brainstorming, talking with a few of the girls who are in the fandom, like asking them their opinions and how they went about it. And I thought about doing things differently. It's like everyone has their own different character, their
Yeah.
own different background.
Mhm.
You have people who are like, oh, like come one character, she comes from like money, her and her siblings, and they're like the family's like like known and all this other stuff. And you have people who are trying to like get away from all that. Like me, I decided to because I am of Mexican heritage. I decided to change it up a bit because it's like you have like I was going around reading different stories. Like you have MCs who are of African American descent, Asian, Caucasian. Whether if it was like I don't know the proper terms, like Indian, Hindu, Punjabis, and all that. You have like these different backgrounds, and I hardly saw a few backgrounds of a Mexican American descent main character. So that's when I decided to make mine. Half Caucasian, half
Mexican.
Mexican, and all that. So I think that played out really, really well. I made her background completely different from what I wanted to originally, but things in my mind are different from what I want them to actually be. And I talked with a few of the girls. They're like, if it just happens, it happens. If you want to write it, write it. It'll just come to you. So on Christmas Day of last year was when I first started to like go out and just upload my first few fics. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put it out there. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, then I know how to better myself and how to better my writing.
Yeah, like I said, poems. I have a knack for poems, and I used to write poems. And yeah, your genre, what do you like? That's I understand, like drama, twist, turns to add. Yeah, like only romance. It's just not like that. But I think if you have the correct thing, you can turn an ordinary thing into a piece of art. And like you said, it sounds like you have a hunger for improving. And I have heard somewhere that a real creator, or any creator, they're never pleased with their own creation. They're always destroying it. They're always trying to make it different, and trying to do something better. So that's just the nature of this. And I have read your some recent ones. I don't know about the others you had written. I think you said your account was lost also, but
Yeah.
yeah, what I read, it's just, yeah, super awesome. And I think, yeah, it's mainly about love, but it's not like love, like it's just not this but the difficulties, the thing that happens, so just super awesome. It touches the heart. And it's just super super glad to know, glad to read them. And thanks for bringing them out for everyone to read. I mean, it's just I think we lack somewhere at this point also great literature. It's just so it's all commercialization. Like everything's commercial, but the way you write them and few others write them, so it gives hope, because the true way, it's just the writing, like the ones we have had back in the school days, we would read. Well, it's really hard to get poems or stories like that. So thank you for bringing them. And it's a personal request. If you because you mentioned since you mentioned poem, I'm not putting pressure on you, but if you ever try, and if you ever wish you have time, so I would definitely like to see some poems, because they're my favorite. And it's really hard. Poems are really hard to come by these days. And from the quality of your writing, I can bet like those poems are going to be awesome. So if you write poems about maybe Ethan or one of the open heart characters or something, anything you would think, that would be super awesome. I'd be really excited to read that.
Definitely. If when I come up with something, I'll definitely send it your way or tag you in it. I haven't done poetry in a long time, so it'll probably take me a while just to think of something. But yeah, I mean, thank you for liking my stuff. It's like when I first started, I was very like iffy about it, and then as I continued, I think with this main series, like I never knew what to give it a name, so it's like just like the unknown kind of. It's like with that, it's like that's like the one series that I'm actually proud of.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's like it's dark, twisty, it's got a little bit of everything. But definitely I will like I'll probably take snippets here and there and try to figure out a way to do like the poetry thing, but definitely, I will keep you in mind when I come out with like poetry and all that.
That'd be good, and keep doing it. And I think you put a lot of effort into that, because you release just one after one, and then you just overnight you do it. You told me that's a dedication. Like a lot of people write fanfics, but I haven't seen dedication, because it's just some serious stuff. Because it's not like easy. You would just it's interfering with your sleep, and all the time you're putting your mind to it, your attention to it. You're working to make it better. I mean, it's just very great. Keep it.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, like I had told you the other night, I usually stay up and do all that. But like how you mentioned, my other account was lost. So it's like I have everything saved up. I just go in, re-edit everything, change it up a bit, boom, upload. So I've been doing that the past couple nights. That's why I've been doing like two or three chapters, the past few nights, because it's like that's all like the hard work that I've put into like the past couple months. Yeah, granted, I started December 25th, and up until now, that's like hard work, dedication. I hit roadblocks along the way. I'm kind of currently stuck on a small chapter, but it's like I'm like that's like my dedication that I'm putting into that to make sure that I give you guys what you guys want, what you guys like to read, and to make sure that you guys get that time with the character and everyone else along in that story. So
Like I said, thanks for that. It's just really refreshing and good for mind, good for soul. Those kind of writings, it's good to read, and it's glad. Thanks for doing that, and like I said, respect your dedication and everything, and best of luck with the future chapters and everything. Just keep doing that and keep making us happy with those fanfics because. This is just makes everything good, like series would come in choices they would end, but you know it- this is the creativity that human can, like, they ain't there, but we think of something and we keep it in our hearts, we give it life, we make it more than what it really is, and it's just great, and it lives through us. Thanks.
yeah, well, you're welcome. I'm glad you like my fix. So continue reading them. I will have some more stuff uploaded later on today.
Great.
So it'll continue on with all the angst and the emotions, as most of my readers have reread it on my old account, and now it's back up on the new account. They already know what's going on. So if you're new to it, give it like another 2 or 3 chapters, and there will be more definitely to
Yeah.
come. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks to you. And thanks for being here. So that's almost it from my behalf. Is there anything you want to mention? Any question? Anything you want to say? Any thoughts? Just anything comes to mind?
No, nothing. I think I'm good on my end too.
Okay. Then, well, oh yeah, I forgot to say. So, I'm gonna link her Instagram in below, Jordan freaking Valentine, in the description box and in the comment section below. Go check out her fan fictions, definitely, because these are worth reading and super awesome. And thanks for coming here. I hope I didn't spoil your morning. It should have been like coffee, tea, and some, I don't know, some walking outside in the park or something with the birds
Don't worry.
chirping.
Well, thank you for inviting me. So it's like, don't worry. You're not interrupting nothing. It's
Okay.
Sunday, and
Oh,
I got
yeah.
nothing planned.
Send it right. Yeah. So enjoy and have fun. I wish you a great day ahead. So I hope the rest of the day is gonna go really well for you and have fun. And like I said, thanks for coming here. And I hope to see you again sometime to talk about choices. If you come back again, that'd be really good.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever you're ready, I'm willing to come back and spend time with you. So thank you again for inviting me. It's been fun, and I look forward to hearing from you again too.
So there's a talk going on. I don't know if you know, like Martian Cat who does this live stream, and then there's this choices lady who has a ride or die. She just completed it on her own, and then SRP dot choices Brendan. So I'm having a plan of like having a group choices talk someday on the weekend definitely. So maybe we can adjust some time, and maybe you can be there too to talk about choices. It'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be definitely fun. I'm always up for something different.
Yeah. Okay, so look
All
forward to it. See you again and have fun. Have a
right.
nice and thanks for coming in.
All
And
right.
look forward
Thank
to reading
you.
your fanfics. Yeah, bye.